Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Happy finally summer. As we are going to be airing this video, it is going to be June, and as far as I'm concerned, June is when summer happens. Now, if you are new to this channel, I'm going to do some light housekeeping at first. As always, I am an author. My name is Essa. I'm from Toronto, Canada, and I publish under the pen name and Sage. I write a lot of mystery, a lot of fantasy and paranormal, and a lot of young adult. If there's any kind of murder or mayhem, rest assured I will be there. I am also currently publishing my first in a long time nonfiction book, which is actually right here. It's called Crafting Cozy. So if you've been watching this channel, you know I do a lot of information on cozy mysteries, how to write them, because that is the majority and the bulk of what I'm currently working on. I'm in the midst of a long series. I'm about to wrap it up, and there's going to be a spin-off and some other fun stuff afterwards. So I decided to publish a book teaching other people how I do what I do. Stay tuned, because in the new year, I am also hoping to launch a course. It's going to be a live course and some pre-recorded stuff, so it'll be a mixture of both, but I'm still working on that. I do want to niche it down to cozy mysteries as well to start, and then slowly start to build up other courses and author resources. With that said, I also have a free resource library if you want to sign up for the newsletter. Once you sign up, you'll get a code to enter the library, and there's a whole bunch of templates and sheets and workbooks and all of that. There's even a planner in there that you can download and use. And I progressively add to it as I think of stuff that I can add to it and things that I think would be useful. So if you want to see more videos from me talking about the writing craft, being creative, because I'm also an illustrator and a designer, anything that has to do with any kind of coaching on your book, which is also something that I do, or just generally want to chat planners, because we love those here, then make sure that you are subscribed and that you hit the bell notification so you don't miss any future videos. And with that out of the way, we can now chat about what I want to talk about in this video. So, with summer coming up, there are a lot of writing conferences popping up everywhere. There's writing conferences, there's like work writing conferences, like workshop conferences, and then there's all kinds of different conferences out there that you can either go to in person, or you can sign up and do them online. Now, the reason that I want to talk about why writing conferences are so important to an author's career, and why I wholeheartedly recommend that if you have the opportunity to take them, that you do go ahead and participate in some. It doesn't have to be in person, because those can get pricey, but online conferences are a wonderful way to kind of bypass that cost and do them from the comfort of your own home. And I'm going to talk about some of the reasons that I think that writers' conferences are so important to an author's career, especially if you're just starting out. I am constantly taking a part of them. I try to do local ones as much as I can. I'm actually going to be speaking on a panel and a conference very soon in our local area. And so I try to participate as much as I can. But the very exciting part of today's video is I actually have a special code to share with you guys. So I'm going to be taking a conference that is coming up very soon. It's coming up in a couple months, and it's going to be online only. So I'm talking about InkersCon. If you haven't heard of InkersCon, I'm going to talk about them in just a few seconds and kind of give you the spiel of why they're such a good conference to take a chance on. But I also have a code where you can get $50 off your entire ticket purchase if you use the code Inessa24. And I also put a direct link that you can use that will apply the code immediately, so you don't have to enter the code at checkout. But if you use, it will be here actually, Inessa24, when you go to InkersCon, you get $50 off your ticket. And I'm partnering with InkersCon to bring this about, because when they reached out to me to do this, I had to, of course, check out the conference first. And I didn't have to do much checking, because it was one that I was already interested in going. I have a whole list of conferences, online conferences, that I want to check out before the year ends. And InkersCon was pretty much at the top. So why do I think InkersCon is so important? So it is online only, but the cool thing about it is it has a very wide range of authors that are teaching, authors and industry professionals and specialists that are teaching classes. So there are many classes, so over 40, I believe, of different live kind of classes that you can take during the time that the InkersCon is on. I'll put all of the information when it happens and everything below, and their website, so you can go ahead and actually take a look and do a deeper dive on your own there. But there's over 40 courses that are live you can take. There are 24 professionally recorded courses that have already been, I guess, done, or they're just in, I don't know what their backend is, but there's already 24 courses that are professionally recorded there as well that you can pretty much take at any time. So you don't have to be present for the live showing of them. There's 10, I think, right now that they have live Q&As that you can actually participate and go on and ask these professionals and these industry powerhouses basically different questions. And you get access to all of this material later on for 6 full years. So you've got 6 years to catch up, which is a great amount of time. I mean, if you're busy, I'm pretty sure that 6 years will be enough to cover all of this. So I actually on my phone, so I kind of did like a little bit of a fun little perusing here, and I wanted to give you guys my top 3. So these are the top 3 that I am most excited about in InkersCon that I will be taking. I will, of course, be participating pretty much all of them. We'll see how much time I have for the live. What I might actually do is to go to a local like hotel room or go out for the day and do them from there, so that I feel like I'm having my own private conference, which is something you can totally do if you're doing an online conference. You can actually, if the budget affords it, rent a hotel room that's local, so you don't have to fly out anywhere or do any of that. Bring your own food, bring wine for the evenings, and kind of stage your own conference for an online conference. So that's a pretty cool idea, I think. But one of my top 3 is building super fans, and it's Angel Lawson and Kristen Oliphant, and like best-selling authors. Like, it's just like such a fantastic course. I think it will be really, really good. So the actual little synopsis for this one is: a best-selling author isn't just born, but is created from a strong fan base of loyal and passionate readers. This class will look at the ways authors can take a page from brands like Taylor Swift or the Savannah Bananas to cultivate the kind of rabid fandom that will continually grow and support a long-term author career. Best-selling authors Angel Lawson, Dark Reverse Harems, and Emma St. Clair, Closed Door Rom-Coms will discuss practical ways that authors can build a fandom no matter the genre. So I'm really, really excited about it because I switch genres so much. And if you're like me and you do that too, it's important to always continue to build those super fans. And I have read the books on it, but something about just like listening to somebody else talk about it. I learned the most out of podcasts and listening to other authors and interacting with them. And so I think this will be right up my alley. My next one that I'm super excited for is how to leverage book signing events to make money, build a network, and turn readers into super fans by Caden Snow. So funny story, actually, I did like a design for Caden Snow fairly recently, and I'm super excited because I do cover design, and so I'm very, very excited to take this class by her. And the synopsis for it is: learn how to turn book signings into revenue streams, networking hubs, and fan engagement platforms, from securing coveted spots to mastering pre-order strategies and much more. This session is full of practical, actionable information for both new authors and seasoned pros. So I am really gearing up on all my signing events this year. I'm doing a lot of local stuff. So if you're in the Ontario area, keep an eye out. I'm going to have a schedule calendar on my website, which I have to update. But there's a couple already on there that are coming up, and I'm doing like all the big indies. I'm trying to do indie stores as well. So I'm getting out there with signings. So this is right up my alley. And the next one is Planning for Author Success, but by Sarah Cannon. So I'm very excited about this because Sarah Cannon is another fellow YouTuber here. And she is just phenomenal and the sweetest person and really, really great at helping authors. And so I definitely want to take her class here. And the synopsis for that one is: achieving success doesn't mean you have to work nonstop. In this presentation, learn how to create a work plan that allows you to focus your time and energy where it matters most, creating success. And Sarah, like me, me is very much a planner girl. And so I know that this is going to be absolutely wonderful. So InkersCon is coming up. It's happening between July 20th and August 2nd of this year. It's 100% online. So it's 10 days of a conference, which is, I think, the longest online conference that I have ever been a part of. I don't know if there's any others out there that are this long. I mean, this is over a week. Like 10 days is a long time for a writing conference. And so you really get your money's worth here. Plus you can get $50 off, which is great. So Inessa 24, if you want to use the code, get $50 off on the pricing of the event. I'm pretty sure they even have like an early bird pricing still right now as well. So totally worth it. Check it out. And now let's get into the meat of the actual video. So the reasons why I think things like InkersCon and other conferences are so important to a writer's career. So number one reason is the obvious one. It's developing your knowledge and your skill. You're going to learn from other professionals, people who have been doing this forever. You're going to get skill and knowledge in a way that you wouldn't get from reading a book. Not to say don't read books. Obviously, I'm writing my nonfiction book that's releasing this upcoming Tuesday, actually, but not to say don't read books, but a lot of us, because we're creatives, we tend to learn better from a more creative way of learning. And oftentimes that means either face-to-face or in your earbuds, like I said, with podcasts, something that resonates with that human connection. And so you might learn more if you are visually entertained. And so these conferences do that a lot. Number two reason is meet other writers. I have met a lot of my current close writer friends at conferences. You get to know people, you talk to them, even if it's online. So I have a lot of friends that I met on online conferences too, in the chat, right? So you can answer each other's questions, you can talk to each other, you can start side chats. And so there's different ways to meet other people, even if it's an online setting. And number three, kind of jumping off of that, is networking. This is especially true in a conference, a physical conference that you would travel to, because you get to network with other people. You get to meet them in real life. You get to exchange business cards, maybe physically, maybe just digitally. You exchange emails, but you network with other professionals. I know authors who have found their cover designers this way. I know authors who have found their editors this way. I know authors who have found their agents this way, which brings me to my next point. A lot of conferences, both online and in person, are geared towards querying. So they're geared towards querying, they're geared towards giving critique, and they're geared towards agents looking at your work. And so if you are going the traditional route, it will be very, very helpful for you to take part in some of these, because it can give you an opportunity to get critiques on your query, on your first 5 pages, your first 10 pages, your first page, on your synopsis, on any of these things before you start the query process. However, if you're already ready for the query process, there are conferences that will give you a chance where you can pay and sit down with an agent and actually discuss your book. You can pitch them. So basically, it's a big pitch fest, and you get to go there and pitch somebody your book. So if you're going the trad route, this is a good way to get your butt in that chair facing an agent. Now, the next reason that I think conferences are so important to an author's career and developing it are resources. So I talked about having a resource library right at the beginning of this video that I offer here. Conferences will offer you a ton of these resources. A lot of times, many classes, especially if they're online, will offer different workbooks. They'll offer food for thought, books to read, lists of books to read, lists of things to listen to. There's continuously a growth of resources that you can partake in if you are at these conferences. And there's things that you might be able to find all this stuff on Google, but who has time to sit on Google and be like, a resource for this, when you don't even know what you're looking for? However, in a conference, everything is already so perfectly structured in this umbrella that your resources are going to align with that really well. And nobody's going to offer you stuff that you might not use. And so I think resources are a really great idea if you're looking for those in conferences. And I said, especially online conferences, because a lot of times that I've been to online conferences, I have received a lot of resources from that just in my inbox, right? My next reason is kind of like a less concrete way, but it's inspiration. I find when I am surrounded by other authors, it's why I like to listen to like a podcast that interviews authors, not necessarily just on teaching the craft, but that interviews other authors and talks to them about their book. I get so inspired. I get ideas. I get that spark of like heat in my belly that makes me want to write the damn book, you know? And so when you are surrounded by other authors, whether it is in person or if you're sitting at home and you're just watching these different classes and live Q&As and if you're pitching somebody, you get inspired to keep wanting to do more. And that's something that I don't think I can put a price on, because as a creative, it is so hard to stay inspired, especially if writing is your job. So if you're not doing it for fun, or just something that you're just doing because you love to write, and that's really amazing. But if you're like me and you're doing this as your pretty much sole income, you can lose that spark a little bit, because work is work and it starts to feel like work after a while. And words that feel like work just don't sound as great on paper. But when you have that spark of inspiration, when you have that like renewed sense of creativity that you would get by being vacuum sealed with other creatives much like yourself, you can bounce ideas off of each other. I really don't think you can put a price on that. Like, I think that's worth every penny to me. It's worth to me more than anything else I may list in this video, is that inspiration that I get after going to conferences and going to online conferences and listening to these different videos. So the next reason that they're so important is business learning. So the business of writing, which we've talked about a little bit on this channel, but I think I might want to do a few more videos just on the business side of writing. But it is notoriously true that us creatives have trouble with the maths, you know. Like for me, I don't know. I don't know what I would do without my accountant. I am great at math. I was doing calculus in grade 7. So like I know math on paper, but when it comes to business math, please count me out. Like, I'm throwing the towel down. Somebody else do this. I cannot. I don't understand certain things, or my brain just shuts off and doesn't want to learn it. I cannot do business when it comes to my writing. However, I do like to learn more about it. And so you can learn a lot about like the business side of writing when you go to these conferences, especially if you find ones that are more tailored towards that. And I think it's really important that we know it. We don't necessarily have to do it all ourselves. You can always outsource, but you should at least know what you're outsourcing, right? Because at the end of the day, you need to direct another person to do it for you, whether it's a PA or somebody who specializes in certain things. And I'm talking business learning, not just like taxes and all of that, but what to charge for books, how to build an author platform, how to grow social media, which is some of the stuff that I was talking about. Super excited about for like, actually InkersCon has like quite a few business oriented types of classes that I saw that I'm actually also very excited about. But how to do social media, why is your website important, who do you get your website from, how much should you pay for a website, should you hire a PA and when you should hire a PA, and what should your PA do, advertising, right? Click advertising, word of mouth advertising. These are all business learning things that you might not be aware of, especially if you're starting out, or you just might not like doing, like me, because I just want to write, right? I just want to write and draw pictures. That's really all I want to do. But I know that because this is my career, that I need to know this other stuff. And the best way to learn it is not to Google, because a lot of times you can get the wrong information on Google, especially now that Google AI is telling people to, you know, cook their chicken to an internal temperature of 37 degrees Celsius. Google can be wrong. Anybody can just put anything on Google. But when you're going to a conference, these are people who have been certified, they've been cleared, and they're often very, very successful, or they're experts in their field. And so I trust them to teach me about the business of writing. And then finally, and this is very much like inspiration, where I don't think you can really put a price on that. Conferences help you build your confidence. writers kind of not block, I shouldn't say block, but imposter syndrome. I think that's a really good one. Imposter syndrome exists for everybody. I wake up with imposter syndrome like many times in the week. I go to bed with imposter syndrome. Throughout the day, I'll sit back and think that I do not deserve to be where I am, that I'm not good enough, that like, why would I want awards for my writing when this is what I can only come up with today? And we can be very hard on ourselves as writers and as creatives in general. It's what we do. It's the life juice of being a creative is to constantly doubt yourself. Unfortunate, but so true. And you are not alone if you're here. We all do it. But when you go to a conference like this, you can talk to other writers that maybe are having the same issues. You can take some classes that help you overcome imposter syndrome. It can help build your confidence if you're not used to speaking to people. Especially if it's a physical conference that you're going to, if you're not used to speaking, if you're an introvert and you're not so used to speaking to people, but you have, let's say, 10 signings coming up that you've booked, and now you're worried as heck about talking to people. This is a great way to practice, because I can guarantee to you, you're not the only introvert in a writing conference. Chances are the majority of the people attending are probably a lot like you, because we chose to be, writers and not comedians on the stage or like acting performers, because we want to be behind the scenes. We want to be behind the book and behind the words. And so going somewhere where you're surrounded by people like you, and people like you who have somewhat overcome that and become people who are now teaching at writers' conferences, it helps you build your confidence to do the same and to move forward and put yourself out there. And I think much like inspiration, it's something that we all need a lot of as creatives. So those are my reasons for why I think writing conferences are so important. I hope I've encouraged you to try them out, or at least start researching them, thinking about them in the future. As I said, if budget is an issue, online conferences are so strong and so amazing now. And a lot of times I find that the material I can get in an online conference is just because it's a lot easier for them to probably plan than getting a whole bunch of people in a room. You can get a lot more out of it. You can get a writers' conference for 10 days straight, which would cost thousands of dollars for you to go to if you were doing this in person. But you can get that for such a ridiculously affordable price. And then there's things like this where they partner with people like me, and you can get an even sweeter deal that way. So I just wholeheartedly recommend them. If you are doing InkersCon, if you decide to go ahead and do it, let me know in the comments if you're signing up and if you want to do it. And tell me which classes you're taking, because I'll make sure to take the same ones, and maybe we can chat in the chat there. But I really hope to see you there. And I hope you enjoyed this video as always. Tell me if this was useful, and give me ideas for what you want me to talk about more. Do you want me to do more reviews, more writing things, more planner things? I do have some secret planner things planned. Haha. But that's coming up soon. But do let me know what else you want to see. As always, I hope you stay magical. Thanks for powering through if you're all the way to the end. And I will see you next week for another video. Bye.